Hello Nakama, welcome to Nimehara channel. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest One Piece news and theories. Now, let's jump right into the discussion. Sins once again showed the continuation of the battle between Shanks and Blackbeard, in which earlier Blackbeard had been smashed by Shanks and sent crashing into the skull-shaped fortress. However, Blackbeard has now gotten back up and is preparing to attack Shanks more seriously. In the midst of their fierce fight, a conversation occurs between the two Yonko. Blackbeard says that the world already knows Shanks has started getting serious about hunting for the One Piece shortly after Kaido and Big Mom were defeated. This makes Blackbeard curious. How far has Shanks progressed in his quest for the legendary treasure? And more importantly, what exactly does Shanks plan to do if he actually finds the One Piece? Of course, this question doesn't mean Blackbeard really believes Shanks will be the one to find it. Blackbeard is extremely confident that he himself will be the one to reach Laugh-Tale and claim the treasure when the time is right. So his question to Shanks is more out of curiosity than anything else. Shanks responds briefly, saying that he doesn't feel the need to reveal anything to an enemy. Hearing this, Blackbeard just laughs. He already expected that kind of answer from Shanks. Then he says that if Shanks were to ask him the same question, he wouldn't hesitate to share his plans. That's because Blackbeard is confident enough in his own ambitions that it doesn't matter if his enemies know about them. Blackbeard explains that finding the One Piece is only a stepping stone for him. His true goal is to destroy the world government and then rule the entire world. He adds that beyond the One Piece, there are many more things he still needs to obtain, such as the 3 ancient weapons and an even larger army than what he currently commands. To rule the world, he says, one must have overwhelming military strength. Although Blackbeard's current crew and alliances are already vast, he believes they are still far from enough. He further declares that once he rules the world, he will restore the glory of the D clan. Blackbeard intends to accomplish far greater things than his father, Rox D. Zebek, and even surpass his ancestor, Davy D. Jones. As we know, Davy Jones is considered the ancestor of the D clan, a mythical figure said to have been cursed by a demon and forced to live at the bottom of the sea. The Davy backfight tradition among pirates is actually meant to honor this legendary figure. In the distant past, Davy D. Jones achieved extraordinary feats that enraged Emu, leading to hatred toward all his descendants who carried the will of D. But rather than fearing that fate, Blackbeard plans to do things even greater than Davy D. Jones himself. His ambitions are enormous, so immense that they will require time and relentless effort to realize. Shanks then replies, "You'd better forget all those plans because I won't let them happen." To which Blackbeard smirks and answers, "We'll see who ends up standing at the top." Meanwhile, far from that location, the battle between Ben Beckman and Shiryu, alongside Van Augur, continues in the center of Hachinosu Island. Shiryu and Van Augur struggle against Shanks' right-hand man, as Ben Beckman manages to fight efficiently against the two of them at once. Realizing brute force won't work, Shiryu and Van Augur start fighting more tactically, coordinating their movements and dividing their roles carefully to launch more effective attacks. Their improved teamwork finally allows them to put up a stronger resistance than before. Elsewhere, Yasopp is shown still fighting one of the former warlords of the sea who has allied with Blackbeard. Their duel is intense and evenly matched. Although Yasopp is already exhausted from previous battles, he continues to hold his ground impressively. During their fight, some of Blackbeard's allied crews attempt to ambush Yasopp together. However, to everyone's surprise, the former warlord suddenly turns on them, attacking his own allies in anger. He shouts, "Don't you dare interfere in my duel with Yasopp." Apparently, he refuses to be disturbed during his one-on-one battle. His own crew already knew about this and had deliberately stayed out of the fight, but Blackbeard's other allies weren't aware, which is why they tried to gang up on Yasopp. That mistake cost them dearly when the furious warlord lashed rushed out and attacked them instead. Switching scenes to Elbaf Island and the underworld communication network, Luffy is still having a conversation with Skopper Gaban about the sun god Nika's powers, which apparently have several elemental variations. So far, Luffy has mastered fire and lightning elements. However, according to Gaban, there is one more element Luffy can wield, the wind element. Gaban knows about this because he once read a book about the sun god Nika kept in the Owl Library. Loki then asks Gaban, "Isn't that book forbidden for anyone to read?" Gaban replies, "Ordinary citizens are indeed forbidden to read it, but as far as I know, 2 people have been granted permission by Sao, me and one of the elders of Elbaf." The story then shifts to focus on the Elbaf elder Gaban mentioned. He lives in a village called Hunter's Village, located within the Sun Realm of Elbaf. Although the Sun Realm is currently in chaos, this elder doesn't participate in the battle, as he's not the fighting type. Instead, he's a thinker, a giant known for his wisdom and strategic mind. He commands other Elbaf warriors, giving them clear, tactical instructions so they can fight more effectively. At that moment, the elder is seen talking with his young giant daughter. She says, "In times as dire as these, the sun god Nika will save the people of Elbaf." The belief in Nika as a savior deity has existed for thousands of years and remains strong among many of Elbaf's inhabitants. The elder replies that he has recently heard news about the arrival of a pirate from outside Elbaf, the Straw Hat Yonko. According to the information he received, this pirate can transform into a form resembling the sun god Nika himself. Though the elder has never met Luffy in person, he's convinced that Luffy is indeed the reincarnation of the sun god Nika, destined to save Elbaf. He then wonders how far Luffy has progressed in mastering Nika's abilities. The elder himself already knows the secrets of Nika's power and its stages, as he too read about them in the book of the sun god Nika housed in the Owl Library. As mentioned earlier, only 2 people in Elbaf, Skopper Gaban and this elder, were given permission by Saul to read that book. The elder then explains to his daughter the 3 stages of Nika's power. 1. The stage of manipulation. This grants Nika the ability to manipulate his rubber body into any shape. He can even alter his surroundings or his opponent's body to become elastic like rubber. Luffy has already mastered this stage, as seen during the Wano War, where he could make the environment and even Kaido's body elastic. 2. The stage of imagination. This gives Nika the power to fight creatively, forming objects directly from his imagination. Luffy has also achieved this stage, as seen on Egghead Island, where he could conjure various objects from his own imagination. The stage of energy, the highest level of Nika's power. It allows him to harness the immense energy of the sun itself. However, this stage remains a mystery. Its true nature and full potential are still unknown, as Luffy has not yet reached this level. It is here in Elbaf that Luffy is expected to awaken this final stage, whether through training with Gaban or guidance from the Elbaf Elder. Thus, from the book of the sun god Nika, 2 major revelations emerge. From Gaban's words, we learn that Luffy can use the wind element. From the Elder's explanation, we learn that Luffy will be able to use the solar energy element. This means Luffy's power growth in Elbaf will be tremendous. Hearing her father's explanation, the young giant woman comments that he must have learned about Nika from the Owl Library. She complains, wondering why Saul only allowed Gaban and her father to read the book, while ordinary people like her were forbidden, even though they were curious. The elder answers, "It's better for you not to be too curious about the book of the sun god Nika. While it contains fascinating knowledge, it also holds terrifying information about Nika." This raises curiosity about what kind of horrifying truths he meant. In Elbaf, there are indeed 2 opposing beliefs about the sun god Nika. Some view him as a god of liberation, while others see him as a god of destruction. The terrifying information mentioned by the elder likely relates to the latter, the belief that Nika is not just a savior, but also a god capable of annihilation. Switching scenes to Marijoy, the continuation of the battle between the Revolutionary Army and the world government is once again revealed. There, Dragon, still in his 3 Haki mode, continues to clash fiercely against Gorosei Nushijiro and Gorosei Garling. In the midst of the battle, Dragon unleashes another another variation of his Devil Fruit's awakening power. He creates a massive wind ring that engulfs the battlefield where he is fighting Nushijiro and Garling. Within that ring, a cyclone forms, completely under Dragon's control. Thus, he is now simultaneously using both 3 Haki mode and awakening mode. His attacks become overwhelmingly powerful, allowing him to dominate the battle. Nushijiro and Garling are pushed further and further back, though they continue to resist fiercely. Dragon then uses a devastating technique that sends Nushijiro and Garling flying in opposite directions. Once they are repelled, Dragon deactivates both his Haki mode and awakening, knowing he needs to conserve his stamina for what's to come. He plans to enter Pangaea Castle, which at that moment is left unguarded. However, just as he's about to move forward, his advance is halted when a giant bird-like monster suddenly appears above the castle. Everyone around stops in shock. It turns out to be Gorosei Mars, who has now emerged and transformed into the full Zoan form of his Itsumade power. From afar, Nusuro, who had been blown away earlier, communicates with Mars via telepathy, telling him that he should have stayed inside. But Mars replies that for the time being, it's better if he joins the battle outside to help stabilize the situation. If the outer defenses fall and too many enemies break into Pangaea Castle, chaos would engulf the entire Holy Land. After that brief exchange, Mars immediately takes action. He unleashes blazing beams of fire from his mouth, scorching multiple areas, including the one where Dragon stands. Dragon manages to counter the attack effectively, but many Revolutionary Army soldiers are overwhelmed by Mars's fiery assault. From a safe distance, Sabo, who continues to monitor the battlefield, speaks to himself, saying that things are about to get even more intense now, that all 5 Gorosei are personally joining the fight. Sabo praises Dragon for being able to push the battle this far, remarking that people of the D lineage truly are extraordinary. However, despite admiring Dragon's strength, Sabo admits that he believes Blackbeard is even greater, someone capable of performing feats that will surpass even Dragon's current actions. The story then shifts back to Hachinosu Island, showing Lucky Roo in combat against 2 formidable opponents, the commander of Blackbeard's Devil Fruit unit and Katarina Devon. The battle there is a 2-on-1 situation. At first, Lucky Roo manages to dominate the fight with his incredible speed and strength. However, as the battle drags on, both the Devil Fruit unit commander and Devon activate their full Devil Fruit power, launching massive, destructive attacks that start to overwhelm him. If Lucky Roo were still in full stamina, he might have been able to hold his ground against both of them. After all, he's known as one of the 3 strongest members of Shanks' crew, but his energy has already been heavily drained from the earlier stages of the Hachinosu battle, which severely affects his performance. Just then, Bogard suddenly appears, launching a swift attack at both enemies. The 2 immediately leap away to avoid it. Lucky Roo, caught off guard, initially assumes Bogard might attack him as well and prepares to defend himself, but Garp's right-hand man gestures for him to calm down. Bogard says that although he doesn't like the idea of cooperating with a pirate, under the current circumstances, he's willing to form a temporary alliance. He explains that Blackbeard's side currently holds a massive numerical advantage, especially since their second wave of reinforcements has just arrived to join the battle. Therefore, it would be best if he and Lucky Roo worked together for the sake of their respective groups' survival. Lucky Roo agrees, recognizing the logic in Bogard's proposal. In fact, earlier in the battle, before Bogard and his team arrived, the Red Hair Pirates had already been cooperating with Garp's forces, so this new partnership between Lucky Roo and Bogard doesn't come as much of a surprise. Meanwhile, in another area, Kobe is seen helping fellow Marines who are struggling under enemy attacks. Suddenly, Seraphim Kuma, S-Bear, appears on the scene. As we know, the Seraphim units on Hachinosu have been under Blackbeard's control ever since Katarina Devon disguised herself as Gorosei Saturn and issued them commands. Realizing this, Kobe braces himself for battle against S-Bear. He knows this won't be easy. The Seraphim are among the strongest combat cyborgs ever created, yet Kobe shows no intention of retreating. Instead, he sees this as a perfect opportunity, a training ground to strengthen the powerful boxing techniques that Garp had taught him. So, that's all for today. Some interesting details from the latest One Piece chapter and more. What do you think about it? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next exciting videos. And Yosh!